Okay. Okay. Welcome everybody to the August Squad Summit. So thank you to all of you who have come in person tonight, and thank you for all of you who are joining us live online as well. It's fantastic to have so many of you here, and the High Energy Squad has certainly put on a lot of love into hosting this summit, so your attendance means a lot to us. Nugilar Kadich Nija Puja Wajak Nungar Puja Kura Ye Borda. I acknowledge this country I acknowledge that this country is that of the Wajak Noongar from the past, today, and into the future. I wish to pay our deepest respects to all of their ancestors, members of their communities, and past, present, and to their emerging leaders as well. And with that, please let me hand over to Maddie to run our icebreaker.
Cool, thanks, Isha. Cool. All right, we're just doing a bit of an icebreaker, so we just need everyone to grab their phones out. So log in. There should be a prompt, so in a GIF, how's your week going? And then submit it, and then we'll have a look at a couple of results and have a talk about it. Hopefully the internet's good here. Actually, each one, Lily, have actually put the same GIF, which is GIF. I think Danielle's got the right idea. I think everyone's yeah. We'll go through a few. Kira, do you want to explain? You're pumping iron or something. I have no idea. We'll go. How about Gareth? You've got. Okay. And I like Josh's one.
So, thank you, Maddie. And as you can all see, this is the outline that we've got for tonight. So we'll get to it because there's a lot to cover. We've got our highlights recap, moving on to the forecast for what's coming up ahead. We'll be discussing relationships and community, belonging and close friendships, and then inducting some new members. We'll be doing some recognition, and then we'll be inviting our guest speaker, Amanda Stevenson, to come and present before we pass on to Melissa for the President's message and closing. So, today, the summit is brought to you by the High Energy Social Squad. So you can see all of them on the screen. Unfortunately, not everyone could be here in person today, but everyone has contributed towards the presentations that we're seeing. So thank you very much to the team. We're looking forward to seeing what's been happening over the last 2 months. Okay, so starting off in July, the first event that we've got is the Agile Planning Sprint. So we had Rotary EQ and the Rotary Club of Beaufort coming up together and working on 5 new projects that were spun up using the Lean Canvas model at that time. After that, so those 5 projects were the Ayla Busy Bee, so a hands-on help beautifying the op shop in Coburn to raise funds, the op shop itself raising funds to help support LGBTQI plus young youth who would otherwise face homelessness. Crafternoon for a Cause currently has 2 classes planned for jelly art making and box kite making, both fundraising for various charities. Project lead is Melissa, so if you're interested, please have a chat with her. And if you're interested in the Ayla Busy Bee, please have a chat with David Trumbull, who's currently doing greeting downstairs, but he should be back up soon. We have a panel of speakers regarding addiction coming up. The project lead is Josh, so have a chat with him, which is scheduled to begin closer to the end of the year and deliver through the start of next year as well. We have our migrant refugee upskilling workshops. We've done this before and we're doing it again. In this case, the project lead will be TK or Tristan, for those of you who haven't met TK yet. But he has shelved this for this year, so let's look at it again starting of next year, see how that goes. But as a result of that being shelved for this year, we are going to pivot and look at doing graduate upskilling events instead, tentatively set up for November. So again, Josh is leading that one. Check in with him if you have any questions. And finally, we have our Community Kite Day, which is raising awareness for mental health. The project lead is actually the Beaufort Rotary Club. So they've begun planning for that. And the pilot event is scheduled for early in November, with a main event in early 2023. So keep your eyes out and let's head along and help support them as well. So moving on from that planning sprint, we had our midweek networking drinks. This was the last one to be held at HQ Bar for a little while. The next one in September is actually going to be held at Market Grounds. The one after that will be in December and will likely be a bar hop. So if you guys would like to come along for that, keep that in mind. And we'll be back at HQ Bar again in 2023. So for a little while, we're going to say goodbye. So, in August, President Melissa and a couple of the members scoped out Broadway Rotary Swap Meet, which is currently run by the West Perth Rotary Club every Sunday morning at Broadway Shopping Centre at the undercover car park that they have in Netlands. So, West Perth Rotary have invited REC and 5 other clubs to form a joint venture to revitalise and keep the swap meet going. The other clubs are Subiaco, Matilda Bay, Nedlands, Crawley, and Western Endeavour, and all have agreed to join forces with West Perth to help support this event. So far, REC has agreed to reimagine the marketing strategy and run some of their online sales as well. With formal approval and full participation in the joint project is pending a decision by the REC board. For this, each of the clubs will initially be committing to a couple of members. So in this case, we're looking at least 8 members to join the roster. And the swap meet needs 2 members in each shift to be able to run. 2 shifts per weekend. So an official opening starting early October on the 9th. At this point, the club would like to have 4 to 5 people to go ahead and actually fill out the swap meet and sell stuff so that, there's a swap meet happening. So vendors will typically sell, whatever secondhand stuff you've got. And we would love to have a club stall as well for REC. So we'd love to have you guys there. And for that, please feel free to bring along any secondhand items, anything old that you've got lying around the house that you're not particularly interested in keeping anymore. Make sure they're in good condition. We don't want your junk. But please do bring them along. We'll sell them on the day, and that'll be fun. So if you are interested with any of this, please have a chat with Melissa. And lastly, in the recap is the Landcare Busy Bee, which happened last weekend. So although there were some showers on Saturday morning, the attendees were looking for 5 different species of invasive weeds, and they were able to gather many, many kilos of them, I am told. So Jason from Warrambi Landcare pointed out all of the rare and endangered flora throughout the Blue Gum Lake Conservation Area, including 2 different species of carnivorous plants and some native orchids. So great learning experience for everybody, and we got to make a difference as well, which is always obviously something important. The next one is going to be in September. So for now, what I'm going to do is hand over to Melissa to talk about all the other things.
Alrighty, so the forecast. What isn't shown here on the slide are the trial days for the Crafternoon for a Cause project team, where we will be practicing the jelly art on the 11th of September, and then practicing how to make box kites on the 18th of September, which the box kites are going to be for that kite day in November. On the top row, you will see our regular style events. For the first time in ages, I will be attending the Rotary Means Business event, along with a bunch of other members here at REC, featuring the former governor of WA, Dr. Ken Michael AC. Tickets to that are only $25, great value. And I know Dean, Michelle, yeah, who's going? Who's going? Yeah, you see it. All right. Next is a timely reminder that our board meetings are actually open to any and all members to attend and observe. You can attend in person or online. Just let me know and I will email you the calendar invite. The day after that is our networking drinks. Welcome to all the public to attend. As Ishwa mentioned, we will be holding it at Market Grounds for the first time, and the venue have kindly reserved us the space for free. Love that. The Ayla Busy Bee has been postponed a couple of times prior, so everybody keep your fingers crossed that it goes ahead this time. Ayla support a range of at-risk youth located south of the river by providing services to systemically disadvantaged people in our community. One of their key services is crisis housing and short-term accommodation for displaced youth. Ayla wants to make the op shop a reflection of community, but At the moment, the outdoor area needs a little bit of love and attention. So we will be going to transform those external areas of the op shop by doing some weeding, building some pot plant shelving, and some general cleaning up. We'll even celebrate our achievements at the end of the day with the afternoon tea. The next Wirrambi Land Care will be at Burragoon Lake, and it will be the third time we have volunteered with Wirrambi. It's partnered events like these that keep rec sustainable as well, allowing us time to build our own projects, which you will see on the next slide. Lastly, on this slide is the High Energy Squad social catch-up, where we'll be having a fun photo shoot at S&R Orchard for their spring festival. What isn't shown here is a similar squad catch-up, which you might have seen on Slack, that we're doing on the 5th of September for the Perth Winter Lights Festival, which I find strange because you got winter on the 5th of September and then spring on the 25th of September, but what do I know? The 25th. Nice. Next slide, thank you. As Ishra mentioned, the swap meet relaunch party is scheduled for Sunday, the 9th of October. Let me know if you're interested in joining the roster for running the swap meet. It's only a 2.5 hour shift every few months. Super easy to do. Or B, if you're interested in donating goods to the Rotary rec stall. Or C, if you know anybody who would be interested in running their own stall. They will need to have goods to sell though. So if you've got any friends who are into that thing, let us know. You'll see on this slide that there are a few events where the date hasn't been set in stone yet, such as the next club summit. But huzzah, will you look at that? We have our AGM already live with tickets. Super happy about that. Unfortunately, we haven't done enough fundraising this year to have free tickets. So the price of tickets is $20 for rec members and $25 for non-members, and that will cover venue hire and catering. AGM is one of our 2 critically important meetings for the organization, the other one being changeover. At AGM, we will be voting in our incoming board of directors and incoming president for 2023 to 2024. But before we can vote them in, we need nominations, so waiting to hear from you. Our most powerful and transformational opportunity in rec is found in joining the board of directors. Working on the board provides you with an entire year of interactive and operational experience designed to help you build awareness, agility, and confidence to lead with wisdom, compassion, and courage. This opportunity to lead and practice leadership can help anyone to rise to greater levels of influence, resilience, responsibility, and decision-making. During your term, you will challenge your assumptions, expand and develop your mindset, and discover skill sets and tool sets to be an effective leader and professional. If that resonates with you, reach out to me to learn more about the nomination process. November will be full of big events, but I'm especially looking forward to the Enchanted Forest Charity Ball hosted by our friends at Rotaractive Perth. Not only does the ball have such an appealing theme, and it's also raising much needed funds for the Perth Homeless Support Group, it is also conveniently the day after my birthday. So I have booked out an entire table of 10 people, which is filling up fast. We've got 3 seats left. So let me know if you would like to be sat with us. Okay, on to the main event. It's all about relationships and community. As you can see here, Maslow's hierarchy of needs is an idea in psychology proposed by American Abraham Maslow in his 1943 paper, A Theory of Human Motivation. Quick disclaimer though, while this model is still widely used today, it is very Western-centric and does not apply universally to all people. With that being said, you can see here how important belonging is to reaching self-actualization. For anyone who does fit Maslow's hierarchy of needs in this model, belonging is a foundation for esteem. It is through deeper and more meaningful relationships that we are able to acquire the skills that lead to honor and recognition. not just in the eyes of others, but in our own hearts as well. But what is belonging? What does it take to have that sense of belonging in ourselves and to create that sense of belonging in the people around us? Today, we will be hearing from the voices of our members about the 10 keys of belonging. Just in the act of sharing their stories and through your active listening, each member is inviting you to share in the creation of that sense of belonging. As a Rotary Club, we have an expectation and a conviction that anyone and everyone will be treated benevolently between us as a whole club. That is what creates the psychological safety to share our stories like this authentically and with vulnerability. We can learn so much from these stories we share, and there's a lot of healing that can happen through that sharing. So, with that in mind, I pass over to Melissa Pilkington, who is online, to read her slide. Melissa, you might need to unmute yourself.
Hi everyone, my name's Danielle and I'm a foundation member of the club, and I was the director of projects when we had one and the secretary for a number of years, and I'm now the district secretary, and I will be speaking on behalf of my friend Melissa Pilkington, who is a past president of Rotary Club of Mount Lawley and now is part of our club. So her slide was about belonging and being present. Is that right? Yeah. Present. Being present. So, belonging begins with presence. It's hard to feel like you belong if you are never or rarely part of the array of activities and events that make up the life of a community. To be present is to be regularly involved in the same place as others in your circle. This is on behalf of Melissa. Belonging is very important to me, especially as someone who has moved cities a couple of times. I grew up in Canberra and I didn't leave until I was 21, so my sense of belonging there was very strong. I had my family and friends I had grown up with. I knew every crack in the pavement just about. When I moved to Brisbane for a couple of years, I discovered what it felt like to not belong somewhere yet. I did some of the ad hoc volunteering and I met friends at work, but I didn't feel like I truly belonged. When I moved to Perth a couple of years later, I knew I needed to take some action, to take part in the community and build a sense of belonging. To do this, I joined Rotaract, and being part of Rotary has been a grounding force for me ever since. At first, I was apprehensive about going to the meetings, and I wasn't sure if I was going to get on with the people in my club. They seemed like strong go-getter personalities and seemed to have everything under control without me. I figured all I could do was turn up and be present, and after a while they would realize I wasn't going anywhere. It worked. I was consistent with going to meetings, and they soon realized I was there to stay, and I became more involved and accepted. I literally just turned up, again and again. As much as I had enjoyed the ad hoc volunteering in Brisbane, it paid off for me to be involved in volunteering with the same group on a regular basis, because it meant that I could form friendships with the other club members. When I suggested projects, they supported me in achieving my goals. One of the main reasons I continue to be involved in Rotary is a sense of belonging to a group of like-minded individuals who have similar motivations to me. I think that especially when you join a new club, the first step is to simply be present, turn up to events, say yes to opportunities, and be involved. So now Veronica will speak.
Hi everyone, I'm Veronica. I'm a relatively new member since about May or June, I think. And this slide is invited. There is something quite powerful about being picked by someone else. It is encouraging to know that others want to be in your midst, that your company is desired or even needed. To be invited is to have your presence or participation sought out by another person. Being invited involves being considered and then pursued by others. What we can do is we can ask what types of activities people want to be invited to and what types they aren't interested in. Recently, one of my school friends invited our group to a paint and sip, and a number of the girls said no thank you. So that invite turned into an invite for paint and sip, and then the others joining afterwards for dinner, and everyone's happy. An invitation is an expectation of fun, a gathering of like-minded people. Humans are social beings. We need company, and the fact that someone has sought out our company is exciting in and of itself. It's validating that we are a good person, a fun person, a person others want to surround themselves with. When I started preparing for this slide, I Googled being invited, and a quote that struck me from the results was, "There is nothing more irritating than not being invited to a party you wouldn't be caught dead at." And that really resonated with me. The quote was attributed to an American journalist, Bill Vaughan. A lot of the other quotes were similarly negative about being not being invited to things. Often we take being invited for granted, being given the opportunity to be included. And it's in the absence of those invites that we notice how much we wanted to be desired and needed by a particular group. Not being invited is a time for reflection for oneself. Should I have made more effort as a friend? Should I have reached out more? And then, on the other hand, do I really want to be associated with people who didn't value me enough to invite me? An invite is an opportunity to be included, and being deprived of that opportunity is not a nice feeling. So it's important for all of us, when considering extending an invite, to be mindful of who we are inviting, but also who we are not inviting, and the impact of that invite, or lack of an invite, on that friendship. Because we all want an opportunity to be in the room where it happened. Next is Maddie.
Introduce myself, but I'm Matthew. I've been part of the club for a little bit over 12 months now. I also am part of the district. I'm an assistant governor, and you'll see me a lot on social media, namely TikTok these days. So you'll see me there. Or not. Welcomed, and to be welcomed is to be received by others with warmth, friendliness, and an authentic delight. In other words, people find pleasure in your presence. Now, I thought of a couple examples of welcomed. I thought about the example of being welcomed, and I actually thought the example of not being welcome. So the example of not being welcomed was, a lot of you don't know, but I've been part of Rotary for over 5 years now, and I was with another club for 4 years. And in my 4th year, I became president, which worked well for the first 6 months, but there was a point of time where I started to get bullied and harassed at the club. And I was getting bullied, harassed in front of club members at club meetings. And at the very beginning, I shrugged it, ignored it, and spoke to him saying, "Please, don't do that." But unfortunately, it kept happening, and it really affected me to a point where I developed mental stress and anxiety. I stopped going to meetings for the last 3 or 4 months. I was the president of the club, and it was probably one of the hardest points in my life. And I didn't have a sense of belonging. I questioned why I was even doing any of this, and I even strongly considered leaving Rotary as a whole. But luckily, I got some good advice from some people in Rotary to say that you probably need to leave the environment. It's nothing of your doing, and you find a home or a club that makes you feel welcome and comfortable. And this club came straight to mind. So about this time last year, I remember being welcomed, and the first person I told to join the club was Nick. And I still remember saying, "Nick, I'd love to join the club. I'm not really happy with my old club. Will you have me?" And Nick and everyone has taken me on with open arms, and haven't looked back. It's felt like a weight off my shoulders, and honestly, I couldn't be any happier in my life. Really enjoying everyone's company and everyone's support in all the things I do in life, and thought I couldn't do all the things I do today if it wasn't for everyone's support. So really appreciate everyone, and just want to thank everyone for creating a very welcoming environment. So yeah, that's what I have to say. So the next bit is who's David. You're up next.
Oh, sorry, except
Oh yeah.
did we skip one? I think we might have double tapped. There we go. Okay. All right, all sorted. But okay. So thank you. I've been selected with known, and I'm not going to read the slide exactly, but I'll say this. I think to be known is far more than just knowing the basics about someone. I mean, I'm sure many people are here in our relationships. I hope you know your partner's name, their job. That doesn't mean you know them. What they're interested in, what they like, what they do, how they interact with others, how they cope in stressful situations. To know someone, I think there's only one way you can do it, and that's to spend time with people. It might be a mutual interest. It might be having wonderful dinner with them, but you need to spend the good quality time with someone to truly know each other. Thinking back a bit, we've got many club activities coming up, and that's how you can really get to know club members. Just attend one of them. It's a joint activity. You can have some fun. You can do the activity, talk to people about anything, really. Just get to know them. That's the best way you can do it. And there's a bunch of ways you can get to know someone, but the main thing is you need to make them feel good. Do you have a genuine compliment? Share some information about yourself. Just talk to them. It's not an interrogation, it's just a friendly conversation. And also this, you need to remember something about them. You need to actually make sure that they know you are of value to them by remembering some details. So hopefully next time you meet them, you can ask a follow-up question. What's happening with your home refurbishments? What's happening with your job? Or something that you can recall from a previous conversation. Knowing takes time, and it's going to take more than one day. But I think it's a cornerstone of any long-term relationship. Thank you. Sorry.
And double tap this time, have I? There we go.
Thanks, that was a tough act to follow. I just have to tell you, the right is really small and my eyesight's not, is getting worse. You feel more comfortable in expressing yourself and taking the initiative in many aspects of your life. So when I first joined the Rotary Club of Elizabeth Quay, I had returned to Perth after being away for 5 years. I also changed careers. So like my career, my networks and social circle had changed over that time, and I didn't have as much in common with people I knew before I left. A friend told me about their new Rotary Club and suggested I might like to come to a networking event. When I attended the event, I met lots of people who were interested in giving back like I was, and who came from all different professions and backgrounds. At first I felt uncomfortable not knowing many people, but I kept attending the events and started to get to know them. The more time I spent with them, sharing experiences and learning about each other, the more I enjoyed their company. I learnt about the projects and I started volunteering because people asked me to join in. I felt that my contributions were appreciated and I was valued, which made me want to do more. This gave me the confidence to put my hand up to lead a project, and then another, all the while building networks, learning new skills and making friends. During this time, one of my family members had to have major surgery. I felt very stressed and scared. I shared my worries with my team members and club members, and the concern they showed me helped me stay positive. I also noticed that I began to create healthy boundaries in my friendships and relationships. As a result, some people left my life, and the relationships I have now are richer and more fulfilling. So on reflection, what makes you feel accepted by others? Acceptance can mean being sought out, listened to and confided in. It can mean not being judged, being respected and being validated. When you feel accepted, you feel happier and confident to take action because you believe in yourself. The beneficial effects of this will be experienced by other people in your life as well. Now handing over to Lily.
Hi everyone. So mine is involved. To be involved is to be actively engaged with and alongside peers in a shared learning environment and have common goals. People are meaningfully involved when they participate in cooperative activities with others. Being involved equals becoming part of something bigger. Think of a puzzle, for instance. You become a piece of a puzzle, and without this piece, the whole bigger picture won't be complete. So I'm reading, I'm sorry, I did not know how to pronounce it.
So Lily's reading for Stefanie Effenberger, who can't be here today.
To me, being involved means being engaged in activities with others in order to achieve a common shared goal or task. Being involved in something also means becoming a part of something bigger, part of a group, community, circle, etc. And once you become a part of something, you become to identify yourself with this bigger something. It's like a puzzle, and you become a piece of this big puzzle. Without you, the whole puzzle won't be complete. Some time ago, a good friend of mine lost her mother to cancer, and she decided to actively get involved in a charity dedicated to breast cancer because she wanted to raise funds for the research and support others who were going through this difficult time. She had this beautiful big ambition, but she didn't know where to start and whom to approach. But because she shared her goal with me and some other friends, we all decided to get involved and help her. All of us knew some people who helped us to connect with her to the right charities and people and set up some admin. Each of us contributed our time and resources to the common shared goal, and I'm happy to say that she managed to achieve her goal. Now every year she manages to raise funds for the cause. That means a lot of her and her society. That means a lot to her and her society. It felt amazing to be involved in that task and seeing the final outcome. So by being involved in something, you become an integrational part of it, and it makes you feel that that you belong to the bigger puzzle, and without you, it won't be complete. Now I'm handing over to Gareth.
I don't like lectures, they're quite impersonal. So to be supported means having the personalized resources needed to reach one's full potential and thrive in everyday life. Close your eyes and reflect on a time when you felt deeply supported and when you did not. What distinguished these two experiences, and what impact did it have on your sense of belonging? For me, I moved to Perth 6 months ago and had countless experiences when I was felt supported by others and when I did not. Personally, for me, a large portion of that support has come from my friends and colleagues at work, who were there to help me for 71.4% of my week. However, I've noticed that when others get stressed and busy, that support structure falls away, and I'm left feeling a bit like I'm on my own. It's quite a subtle difference in the work environment, however, it means having a large impact on my general sense of belonging here in Perth. Social supports are like a bridge. They help people go from where you are to where they want to be. It's been found that people are most likely to feel supported when they have a community in which they are personally known, where people see their potential, and where they're provided the assistance they need to be successful. I'll end the slide with a fun fact that the Friends theme song says "I'll be there for you" 12 times throughout the full song. And if you've watched the whole show without skipping the intro, you would have heard that phrase 284 times. It's just a reminder of how important it is to feel supported, to feel a sense of belonging in where you are. Just know that for your friends, you need to be there for them at all periods of time so that they can feel a sense of belonging. Whether you're there or whether you're not, just be open to the idea of supporting others. Now handing over to Madeline Vignoni.
Everyone wants to feel heard and understood. Knowing that your voice is really valued and is not only empowering but also helps you feel more connected to others. To be heard means that your perspective is sought, listened to, and respected. Amplifying the voices of others promotes their self-determination, self-worth, and sense of belonging. So being heard gives a person a sense of validation. Back in high school, being part of a large friend group, it is expected. You get interrupted from time to time. However, it's when you branch off into smaller groups and the same thing happens to you, you begin to feel as though you're unwanted and don't belong. This was a common scenario in my friend group. I would be sitting with my friends at lunch, listening to their stories, and of course there were the minor conversational interruptions to their stories. However, when it got to my turn to say something or tell a story, one random word would set them off and they would start a new conversation on a different topic, and I would never seem to finish my sentence. I remember bringing this up with them once, and they made the conscious effort to let me finish my story or sentence. While this was appreciated, the things felt forced and that I wasn't part of their friend group. I felt as though I couldn't go to them for real problems because they barely listened to me tell a random story or anecdote. So why would they listen to me when I needed help and had to solve problems? I think due to feeling like I didn't belong in the past, I made a conscious effort to invite others into conversations and listen to their stories. Those past experiences also helped me when listening to others. It has allowed me to gauge what a person wants. Do they just want someone to vent to? Are they looking for advice? Or are they just up for casual conversation or some juicy gossip. So, I will now hand over to Myron.
Rotary as a member. So I'm going to talk about befriended. So there's nothing quite like a friendship. Friendships are among our greatest sources of support, affection, understanding, comfort, and fun. To be to be befriended means having peer relationships marked by mutual affection and reciprocity. Having a friend means having someone in your life uh, who says, "I choose you too." A friend provides someone to play with, talk with, spend time with, and grow up with. There is no denying that friendship contributes to our well-being. They give meaning to our lives, make us who we are, help us navigate challenges, and bring us joy. Almost everyone needs enjoyable and affirming relationships with their peers that provide companionship and fun. Having to change cities almost every year during my childhood meant I had to leave my newly made friends behind and try to make some new ones. Repeating the process over and over again. Although it may sound a bit frustrating, on the bright side, I got to learn a couple of things from this experience. First of all, some friends are so positively influential that they literally can change us for the better. So whether you have them around or not, we have our new selves because of them always with us. Secondly, we are never too old to form deep and meaningful friendships with others. It only takes two like-minded people with open hearts to become besties. So if you don't have your friends from school or uni around, don't worry. There are still lots of people out there who are great fits to be your good friends if you're open to them. And needed definition is to be needful or necessary, to be in want. As human beings, we all feel the need to be wanted most of the time. That that we uh, that we form part of a group or a community, and that's what Rotary can bring for us. Joining the club has opened my perspectives on how much more is happening in the world, and one just needs to be willing to open their horizons. Uh, by in, by investing some of our time, you realize how you're needed in your community. Everyone has at least one skill that can be used to help the society. Even if it's just your time, time alone is enough to feel a sense of belonging and that you're needed by others. By getting involved and participating, you're rewarded in multiple ways. A personal satisfaction of having used your time, skills, knowledge to help others and the community and build long-lasting relationships. I was the treasurer for 2 years and felt my contribution was needed. I was recognized by my skills and efforts, and I had put into work to help with the board and the club. Now handing back to President.
There it is. Ooh, dear. All right, today we are inducting one new member, Madeline Vagnoni. Come on up. Actually, no, stand here with so that the people online can see us. Hi, online. Okay, Madeline, you have been accepted to the membership of Rotary of Elizabeth Quay because you possess the qualities and character to be a Rotarian. Rotary offers fun, friendship, and personal fulfillment to those who offer their friendship and service in return. It also provides unique networking opportunities, including the opportunity to visit any of the tens of thousands of Rotary clubs all over the world. Service will sometimes mean fundraising for causes and projects. It also means giving of your time and effort to help those that are in need. Your fellow members accept your assurance that you will serve your club, your vocation, and your community with the highest ethical standards and do your best to promote international understanding, goodwill, and peace. The community will judge and know Rotary by your actions. And the Rotary four-way test can be used as a guide. 1. Is it the truth? 2. Is it fair to all concerned? 3. Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And 4. Will it be beneficial to all concerned? It will also be your responsibility to learn about Rotary's ideals and its activities and to inspire generosity with your circle of friends. Everyone, I have the pleasure in presenting to you the world's newest Rotarian. And you can never take that off. So well done. Thank you very much. Love it, love it, love it, love it. You and I are taking a photo later. Oh, my back. Okay. Aish, you're back up.
All good? Okay, so while we are giving some applause, please also put your hands together for all of the wonderful people who are up on screen right now. So, starting off with Maddie, who's raised over 8K for the Vinnie CEO Sleep Out this year, so well done, Maddie. Then we've got Ben. Ben and his partner have just welcomed another child, baby Quay. So that's great. We've got Lena, who's won a full AICD NFP scholarship, and she's also welcomed a baby, Myra, into the family. Now we've got Dean behind the camera over there, who's just started a new job as Project Business and Support Officer with Department of Communities. And Nick, who's online, has a new job as a Principal of Strategy at BHP. So well done to all of our So today's summit is brought to you by the High Energy Social Squad, and that is not the right note. Why that doesn't make any sense.
I don't know what happened.
That's all good. I would like to invite our guest speaker, Amanda MacGregor, to come up. So Amanda has come from Bluebird, and Bluebird offers a unique program of psychologist-led support services to help build confidence and skills of members to help self-manage their mental health by reaching out to over 25s living with anxiety and depression. So Amanda, would you like to please come up?
I appreciate the opportunity to share with you a little bit about Bluebird and my mental health journey. I'm sure you've probably all heard the statistic that 1 in 5 adults will experience a mental illness in any given year. The statistic that you may not be aware of is that by the time I've finished speaking with you here tonight, that 1 adult in Australia will actually have attempted to take their own life. And I know that is a really startling statistic, but the good news is that there's things that we can all do to have an impact on that. And it really starts with having a simple conversation. And I never expected that I would find myself in conversation with a psychologist at the age of 27 and receive a diagnosis of severe depression. I was probably a lot like yourselves. I was young and motivated and ambitious. I wanted to do something good in the world. I wanted to make a difference and have an impact. I had my career goals and my business goals and my 5-year plan all, mapped out in front of me. And that was all taken away from me in a very short space of time. I went from thinking I was maybe just really, really stressed to being, massively depressed, unable to look after myself. And I had to leave my job and move back home to live with my parents and basically begin the process of unraveling what was happening to me and why and, what I needed to do to regain my mental health. And it was a really difficult time. I can kind of describe it now as my feeling of depression was like I had a constant headache. I had, kind of food poisoning and a hangover all at once. And on my worst days, it was like I was waking up and feeling like I was going to, a family member's funeral. It was just a heaviness, a darkness. I was completely depressed. I had no inclination, no motivation. I felt like I was nothing. I had nothing. There was no future. And I really struggled on my own, and it was really difficult for my family and friends to, understand what was happening. As much as I tried to explain it to them, and this is how I feel, I was still struggling to deal with it myself, and then, sharing that with other people was also challenging. So one of the things that I turned to was writing. I've actually just finished writing a book about my experience, but I wrote a lot of poetry at the time just to try and understand what was going on in my mind. And this is one of the poems that really helped me explain, what I was going through and how I was feeling. And this was at the beginning of my depression. So this was when I was a bit kind of frustrated and really just, confused. So there's no swear words in this one, which is good. So this is what it felt like. Don't look me in the eye and tell me not to cry. Not even consoled by a kiss from a mother's lips. No amount of positive thinking can stop me from drinking in this pool of pain. I don't even feel sane. A shadow of my former self, it hurts to be like this. To feel something is amiss and not feel like you can fix it. It's on my wish list. Health, wealth, and happiness. I still want it all. But I've dropped the ball in this game of life. I've ended up in strife. I want to know what it's like to live and be free and happy. Content is what I don't feel. I just need to heal the open wounds I've left to fester. Is there something I could have done better? I'm trying to let go, to not need to know how it will all end. I'll just have to pretend that I'm fit and strong and healthy. Wealthy, successful, and free. Yep, that's me. Just wait and you'll see, is what I used to say. Now I just make it through each day. I feel like I'm existing, but I don't exist. Living, but not alive. There's a fight going on inside, one I've had to hide, between my thoughts and feelings and actions, what I want and what I need. Now all I do is feed my body, mind, and soul on goodness and hope it one day becomes whole. So it was obviously a really difficult time, and I reached a point where I'd been doing everything I could to manage my mental health. I was seeing my psychologist, I was getting into exercise and having a routine and looking at where my time and energy was going and learn, to managing my thoughts. But day after day after day of just feeling darkness and despair, I reached a point where I thought, if my life is going to be like this, then I don't really want to live anymore. And it was lucky enough that that day my mum chose to have a conversation with me. She noticed I was more distressed than normal, and she said, "What's wrong?" And I said, the thoughts in my head are making me feel like it would be easier if I wasn't here. And it was at that point that I realised I needed to accept that I had a mental illness and then actually take the steps to recover and to regain my mental health. And so I did everything and anything that I needed to do to get better. I saw a psychologist, I saw a psychiatrist, I started taking medication, I did meditation, I started running, I saw a kinesiologist, anything that would help me get better. And eventually I did, but I still really wanted to find other people who were going through the same thing. I went looking for support. I attended 2 support groups, and they were for older people or people with a variety of mental illness, and I just didn't find that I fitted in there. And so I struggled on my own, and it was probably a period of 2 years of back and forward, up and down, until I eventually recovered and could manage my mental health. And one of the keys that actually helped that was founding the Bluebird support group. So I can still remember walking into the very first meeting for the support group and seeing the other young, men and women there, and thinking, finally, it was almost like this guilty happiness that I'd finally found other depressed people like me. And there's an amazing power in being able to sit with a group of people who are going through a similar experience and who have a similar goal. I think what you all mentioned before about belonging, that's what I found in that support group. And it was a major catalyst in my recovery. And I've seen that sense of belonging and welcoming as we've been running Bluebird for a decade now, when people finally come to our service and get the support and the help that they need. So Bluebird offers peer support groups for adults over 25. We have a psychologist who facilitates our meetings, so people get the peer support as well as the guidance from the psychologist, and we have wellbeing workshops and social events that people can attend as well. So we've got a service in Perth, one in Fremantle, and we actually got asked a couple of years ago to start a service for people who work in the animal care industry after a lady took her own life, and they wanted more support for animal care workers, veterinarians, vet nurses, and people in that industry. So I just want to share with you a story with one of our members who attended Bluebird. Her name is Moon. She made an inquiry about Bluebird. I had a conversation with her. She was really struggling. I shared with her what Bluebird could do. She attended 2 support group meetings, and then she moved back to Malaysia where she lives. And then later on in the year, I received this card that says, "Amanda, you are the light in the dark." So that one conversation with her and finding a group that she could belong completely changed her life. And this is not to say, look at what I did. This is to say, this is what we can do. We can all be that light for someone else. So I'd really just encourage you to do 2 things. The first thing is obviously look after yourself. And if you need help, then speak up. And the more we share our common struggles, we can decrease the shame and stigma that keeps people silently suffering. And the second thing is if you see someone struggling or they need help, then reach out, ask them if they're okay, share with them about Bluebird, and or get them to the support that they need. And I think together we can create a community of mentally healthy, resilient, emotionally strong adults and be part of a community that is free of suffering and free of suicide. And we
Thank you, Amanda. Your reminder about the importance of mental health is a very timely reminder with Are You OK Day just around the corner. Speaking of which, on a slightly lighter note, our very own Michelle Toms and Joshua Molly are doing a cupcake fundraiser for Are You OK Day. So please reach out to one of them for the details. Next order of business is, well, in case you didn't know, every month our first gentleman over there, Dean Fuller, creates a President's Update video with me giving you the lowdown on what's been happening and what's coming up. So please check out those videos on our Facebook and our YouTube channel. Leave a like and a comment. It will bring a smile to his face. He works very hard on those videos. Okay, now, number 1 on the slide is the regionalization project. Our region, which is Zone 8, includes Australia, New Zealand, and several Pacific and other island nations, was approved by Rotary International to be one of 2 regions to pilot the regional approach to governance. A yes vote would enable the pilot to develop a framework and trial it in full consultation with members, clubs, and districts. It should be noted that the pilot aims to support the core work of clubs and their members, not to change anything within the clubs. A 2/3 yes vote of the clubs in each district is required for the pilot project to go ahead, and the club decision will be based on the majority of member votes. Therefore, this survey cannot be done anonymously. The deadline for member votes on this survey is the 6 p.m. Western Standard Time, Thursday, the 15th of September. You can vote now using the QR code on the screen. It also tells you a little bit more information if you haven't seen the 1,000,001 emails that Rotary International are selling.
And I see the video on the Slack channel as well.
It's all there. It's all there. Item 2 on the slide is our draft code of conduct that has been emailed to all members with feedback due on the 10th of September. This is a complete update and overhaul of our previous code of conduct from 2018, and all feedback is welcome. The email also contained a link to an updated introduction pack and a call to action asking for nominations from members interested in joining the board. I am waiting to hear from you. Finally, item 3, Joshua, our vice president, emailed all members inviting them to take up the club's changeover gift, which is a unique rec-branded NFT whatever that means, with your very own name on it. So he is soon going to be minting those NFTs in one big batch. So if you haven't already, please reach out to Joshua to know if you would like to receive one, and if you need help setting up a digital wallet that you store the NFT in. No, that's all. Yes, thank you everybody. Woo! Now, lastly, before you go, there's one last order of business. We need to take a group shot, and I need you to assemble yourselves in this manner.
Exactly.
And then afterwards, we will be heading to Milky Lane to continue the awesome conversations about mental health, belonging, and friendship. So, yeah, assemble. And thank you, everybody. On you. Bye.
Great work, Melissa.
Oh, thank you, Nick.
Bye, and thank you. Melissa, thank you. Thank you.